Alright everybody, now that we've got that part taken care of, this is a couple weeks later that we're adding to this video. Now we've got the toilet ready to come out, we've got the bolts off, because I went and did the following, or the step that I did before this part of the video, by putting wire brush in the bolts and spraying WD-40 on them and letting them set for a while. Those bolts was actually pretty easy to get off. This one here on this side was a little temperamental, but just took a pair of channel locks and held the top of it as close to the end as I could and just loosened the nut, and once it's opened up it came right off no problem, and I didn't mar the threads at the end so that it would get stuck at the top of the thread. So now we've got the toilet emptied and the bowl is empty, and as you can see, this thing has been here for a while. This toilet is probably the original toilet that was put in this trailer when it was made new. Now the last guy that did this job was a moron, and I'll tell you why. Let me move this towel out of the way here. This guy was caught embezzling money off of the landlord and got about $30,000. It's probably more. And instead of him putting a shutoff valve on it, like, where'd I put that? Well, I just don't have my stuff together here. Babe, where's that shutoff valve? No, right there, that's the new one. Right here is what should have been on it. Is this. If I can hold on to things. That should have been on there. And I'll bet you any amount of money that the woman that owns this part paid for a valve and didn't get a valve because he didn't want to spend the money and he pocketed the rest of it. And he had a habit of doing that. He also didn't do a very good job on this floor because it's unlevel. So we got to figure out how to make sure that this toilet is level without having to mess with the floor. So we may have to make a shim plate for the bottom of the toilet. We don't know yet until we pull it out. So the next order of business is to go ahead and get the toilet out of here. And once we get the toilet out of here, we can see a little bit more about what's going on. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and lift this toilet out of the way and hope that we don't bump you guys. Go ahead and lift this out. The easiest way to lift the toilet out is by right here. And you rest your elbows on, or elbow on your knee. That gives you better leverage. When you got a bad back, you got to do stuff like that. So now we're going to take and lift this right off of there. Oh, wow. He was a moron. That's what he used to level it. Alright, so let's get this out of here. Grab it right there. And keep it tilted because you don't want this coming down on your hand. Alright. Now we've got this I gotta go get a scraper. But first, we're gonna go ahead and take this loose. And bet you I got the wrong size. Yeah, it's on the bench. I'm going to set you all down here so you can see what's going on here. Now this thing here, you see that? It is full of rust.
The Pope takes a poop and the President too, and the fancy pants banker in his three-piece suit. The big fat general and all of his troops. The truth of the matter is everybody poops.
Well, it'd be nice if I had a piece of glue on. But let's go ahead and get the toilet out of the box. We're gonna go out here and get the toilet out, and we're gonna set the bottom part there just to see how it's gonna set.
The famous brain surgeon has to leave his lump, and the high-priced model has to stop for a dump. But can the sides of Canada can't spray away the truth? 'Cause even if they don't admit it, everybody poops. Everybody poops. Everybody poops.
Alright, we've got it set in place, and that right there is level. But look, got wobble to it, and it's setting right down on. Get a flashlight to show you. As you can see, it is setting right on the flange. So that's not going to give me very much room for the wax ring. So I'm going to have to take a piece of Luan and cut it to the same contour as the bottom of this toilet. And we're probably going to make it so that it comes out about this far. That way it has a nice half-inch lip out around the whole thing. And then we're going to cut a hole where the flange is, so that it goes around the flange. And once we've got that made and secured, of course we're going to have to shim, because right back here this is lower. So if I was to pull that down to that section, or to meet the floor, then it's going to make the toilet unlevel. So we need to put it there, and there's about probably an 1/8 inch gap between there. So when we put the new plate down, to raise it 1/4 inch so that we have enough room for the wax ring, and mount that board down, then this will set down on it, and we'll have plenty of room for the wax ring, and it won't move. So this is what you have to do when you go in behind morons who don't know how to do a job and do it correctly. So that's our next step. So I'm going to make that piece, and we'll be back. Alright, so now what we've got is the plate, and this plate is what's going to be shimmed right back here. And so now we've got the height issue taken care of, so that we have enough room in here for the wax ring. As it stands now, if I was to put the toilet in like that, it would squeeze down so tight on this that there will be no wax in between here, and it would not do its job. So another reason that this plate needs to put in here is for this reason right here. Somebody has cranked on that so bad that they've got it raised off the floor, and it's formed itself in a deformed location. So we've got a second option, these two holes here. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to take these screws out, turn that a quarter turn, and then put the screws back in it, because these all go in the same spot, so they're uniform. So that way we're using this side over here, and these will go back here where they're not needed. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Well, guys, change of plan. Again, I can't stress this enough. The moron that did this job to begin with didn't do it right. So basically what I have to do, called the landlord, and they don't have any linoleum or any tile to put down on this after I replace the floor. I got to replace the floor in this, and this is not a job I was prepared to do. Didn't want to do it, but I have to replace the floor in this bathroom. So because they don't have any tiles put down on it, I have to try to make these tiles work. So I'm going to have to see about cutting the caulking around it, and I'm going to have to try to pry these up. Now some of these are loose, you can see they're bubbled up, and I'm going to have to try to get these off the floor and mark them so I know where they went. And then we got to take the piece of plywood out, which is, he put what looks to me like 5/8 plywood. I'm going to use 3/4, and I'm just going to take this piece out, take it out, put it against the plywood that we have, and we're going to mark it, cut it out, and hopefully we'll bring it in here and it fits right in here with no problem. So the next thing I got to do is take the door off the hinge, get the caulking off the tiles, and go from there. The main reason is because when I went to put the screws in the flange, it's so rotten that it won't even hold the screws. So no matter what you do, it's going to be a flopping flange. So I guess we're going to be taking this out next. Alright, so we've got this floor up, and this floor was fixed not too long ago from what I understand. And you look at this black mold. That is exactly what that is. It's black mold. Now we're going to have to go in here, we're going to have to bleach this to get rid of that black mold. And this is what I found. Right there. Instead of him ripping this up to the studs or the floor joist and replacing the bad stuff, he just decided to coat it over. And this is what kind of floor, this is the original floor that came in this trailer. And I had to do the same thing right there. Forgive my mess, I got a hell of a mess in this room. But this here was sunk down in there about 2 inches, because people just walked on it and didn't care, so I had to replace that whole piece right there. And I just cut it to the studs of the floor joist, half of the floor joist, and then set the new piece in on top of it that was the same thickness. Now I've got to do the same thing to this. That's the original tile that was in here. And I had Sandra take and try to, or start taking these tiles up. And I decided that I wanted to show this before she touched that one. Instead of him taking these tiles up, he just threw this board down on top of the tile. And he never bothered straightening them up. He never bothered sweeping. He never bothered taking anything out of here. It's like he cut the piece, brought it in here, left everything right where it was at, even overlapping each other like that, on top of each other. Know damn well it wasn't going to be level or square, and it was going to sink into places where it was high. Low, like right there. And that's where it was sinking, right there, because of that tile sitting up on top of them two little pieces of wood. And when it got wet, it just sunk. So now I've got a job that I was not prepared to do, didn't want to do it. This is not my trailer, and I don't want to do it. But I have to do it. I'm forced to do it because ain't nobody else give a shit about this trailer and what needs to be done. And I'm getting real sick of that, and I'm about ready to find me a new place to live. And as soon as one pops up, I'm out of here, man. I'm getting tired of this bullshit of having to fix everything behind somebody that don't care. So, this is just to give you an update of what this mess is. I was simply supposed to put a toilet in and be done with it. And I texted them and said, you know, for what I have to do to fix this, instead of just putting a toilet in, I got to fix a floor. I should at least get a month's rent free. I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask for the work that I have to do. You know, this is crazy, man. You know, it's just, and black mold. No wonder I stay sick all the time. You know, this is a health issue right here. So, stay tuned. This is probably going to get ugly. Well, guys, started getting dark on us a little bit, so we started rushing around here, and I finally got the floor in, and it's not perfect, and it's never going to be perfect unless I had the material to do it. And that's my wood that I used on their floor, and I'm getting tired of using my materials to put in somebody else's house that don't give a shit. So, this is all that I had left of my wood, and I ended up having to piece it up in pieces, and don't take lessons from me because on this job, because this is a shitty job. I'm not very proud of it, but we've got issues with the wax ring steel, because this is not the one that's supposed to be on here. The one that goes on here, if you notice, has threads right there. Well, the one that's supposed to go on here is supposed to thread down on top of this. This one has no threads. So, when water splashes down, it's going to come up in between behind this and wet this wood too. So, you know, I can't do a whole lot about that. This thing's deformed. I'm going to have to work with it because at what it takes to get anything around here done, I'm just not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to do this the best I can. I'm going to put the hump side on the front and the back and put this right there so that the bolt lands right there in the middle of this and this. And I'm going to be done with it. I could take and stick some wax around here from another wax ring, but that means I'm going to be using my wax ring that belongs to me. And like I said, I'm getting real sick and tired of having to use my equipment, my materials that I work hard to get, for somebody who doesn't want to do nothing to make things right in their own home. So this is what I've got. I've got the floor done. I put that on there. Yes, that's mine too, and I'm pissed about having to use my materials for somebody who don't give a shit about their place. So I'm getting tired of being forced to do something that I don't want to do. But here we have the floor down, and yes, I put the damn patch in the wrong place. It should have been back here in that corner, but I was in a hurry and I wasn't thinking, and I really don't care. So now we're getting ready to put the tile down. I'm going to put my piece of paper. I made a diagram. I don't think you can see that very good, with numbers on it telling which tile goes where, and we put pencil number on each one of the tiles so we know where they went. So we're getting ready to do that now. As soon as she sweeps it, I'm going to go get tile glue and put some tile down. This is not the job I wanted to do. I'm still mad about it. So anyway, till we get that down later. Well, the update is that I've got the tile in, and I had to use them bricks to weigh it down because it had been bubbled up for so long that it was deformed, and I went and used commercial tile VCT on it, and I got it weighed down a little bit in the high spots so it'll stay flat. And now we're getting ready to put the flange on, and we was going to go get the bolts to put in the flange to make sure they was in the right place. And what do you know? The brand new toilet that we just bought for $88 at Lowe's didn't have the hardware kit in it. So now I have to go spend my gas money and my time to go get a flange bolt that should have been in the box that some lazy motherfucker couldn't put in the box when they put it in there, or was supposed to put it in there. So here, this is just a prime example of how people waste my time way too much. You know, first of all, I'm using my equipment or my materials for this bathroom floor. The only thing that wasn't mine was the toilet. Everything else is mine. The glue was mine. The plywood is mine. The plywood was supposed to go on the bench in my shop, so now I can't put it in my bench because it's on the floor. That's my valve. You know, I collect all this stuff for a reason, so that I have the tools to do the things that I need to do to make money. There's no money involved in here, and if you ask for money, you might as well just turn around and kick yourself in the ass, because it ain't going to happen. You're not getting no money out of these people. I was lucky to get the material to do the bathroom and get the toilet. So, you know, I got another bathroom I got to tear apart, and I'm not happy about what I had to do to this one. This was supposed to have been a simple, pull the toilet up, unhook it from the valve that wasn't there, and put a new toilet in and be done with it. No, I got to get rid of black mold, I got to put a new floor down, I got to use my materials to do so, and there is no appreciation whatsoever for what I've done for this trailer. They could care less. As long as they can avoid the problem, they're good. So, yeah, forgive me, I'm pissed today. Well, alright, YouTube. We have a bathroom. The new toilet is in. Nice and purty. Nice and straight across the back. has a valve, if you can see that. Probably not. And we've got kind of a pedestal that we've set it up on that I've already showed you. And the reason for one of the reasons that I didn't mention was that when we was to bolt this down to the flange, it would level it, but it would be off the ground here and it would be off the floor back there. So basically it was just going to be sitting there teeter-tottering on the flange. So to prevent that from teeter-tottering, there was two reasons for doing this, and that was to make sure that you have enough wax in between the toilet and the flange. That way all your wax is all one piece still, and it has room to flex. So that was the purpose of this. So when we tighten this down, then everything's squished and stays stationary, and there's no movement in the toilet. So it's nice and solid. We've got a 3/4 inch floor. I took the tiles, and if you remember how bad they looked, see how good they look now. Now some of the stuff I couldn't get rid of. Now that I could have. I don't know why that's there, but I came through here with some, I think it's still coming out a little bit. But anyway, I'll have to work on this a few times, I'm sure, because the glue is settling and it's finding places to go as we step on it. So it's coming out of the cracks. And it'll be a while before it's solid enough, and I'll just have to clean this up a little bit more every time I work with it. But anyway, what I did was took lighter fluid and an old sock and just put a dab of lighter fluid on it and just cleaned all that up, all that glue, and it left this tile a little flat, had a flat sheen to it, sort of like you was waxing it. So then after I got done cleaning it with the lighter fluid, then I went and took some car polish and then polished the whole floor and then buffed it, and it looks a whole lot better than it did before I started with this. So you know, everything still looks the same around the edges of it, but I plan to eventually put molding around, you know, trim and molding in this bathroom so that all these cracks will be taken care of. So there you have it. A toilet that was not fun for me by no means. You know, I'm kind of wondering why it is that other people like to ride on other people's shirt tails. You know, and it seems like a lot of that happens to me because I just got too big a heart to say no. And being smart and being able to do everything and having a kind heart is two things that does not fit together. So this is a prime example of my kindness to the people who don't care. It's all about the almighty dollar, and people like me are the losers in that almighty dollar thing. You know, people talk about that American dream. I'm sorry, you couldn't prove to me there's a such thing as American dream. So you guys have a good one.